Welcome to this season of the Broadway Podcast, where here we give you a more real-time point of view of people who work, interact, and entertain here in Broadway, Nashville. We get the opportunity to provide hot gossip, but we also take the opportunity to provide a more positive outlook on people who call Nashville their home. Ride with us as we take you down a trip on Broadway.
This is the life we choose, life we choose. And honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. I've been doing just fine, alright now. This is the life we choose. This is the life we choose.
All right, man. Welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
I'm living the dream. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you here, man. A couple things I want to go over with you as far as like you coming to Nashville. First, I want to welcome you to the city.
Thank you.
How's your stay been so far?
I've loved it so far. I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed in the people here is just genuine connections rather than, and like when you meet somebody, it's more, what do you do, in a sense of like, what do you do for fun rather than like, what do you do to network off somebody like it was in California.
Yeah.
So, but I love it so far. It's been fantastic.
The differences between like networking with people in California versus here. A lot of people say that they're like, oh, I love the South, or like I love Nashville because it's like very opening. Everybody's so nice. Do you get that genuinity from people here in Nashville? Or do you just think it's like face value?
In Nashville, the city, because of so many transplants and coming from all over places, yeah, I do. But like, I mean, you do get outskirts sometimes that you just feel a different vibe altogether.
Yeah.
But that's, I feel like it's any big city though.
Yeah, I feel
Right.
you on that. Because like when I first moved, I've been here for 10 years, and like when I first moved here, I came from Alabama originally from college, and I moved here, and the vibe was kind of the same as far as like the people are concerned, as far as like being nice and friendly and welcoming. But it took me like literally like 5 years to like get my niche with my community of people. How are you feeling like it's been kind of hard for you to be able to like find like a group of people that you can really connect with? Like,
I don't think so, especially in the service industry. Like, we go through, like, you don't know anybody until you've been in the fire with them.
Yeah.
Right? You have that one shift that you're just look at each other and you're like, I will see you in 5 hours because I'm not going to talk to you again. So the coworkers and staff, everyone I met has been nothing but hospitable and nice, and plus I had a couple friends out here in the first place. So, but it's been cool.
Awesome. What brought you to Nashville from California in the first place?
Just to kind of live outside my comfort zone a little bit, and also to the ability to work to live. Like in California, like it's awesome, it's paradise. I came from a really good living situation and everything of the sort, but I knew once that was done, the consent or like just the overall outlook of living and affording California was going to be impossible at the time. So instead of living to work all the time and giving my all to a company that really just didn't give a shit about you, to come out here and be able to work to live was a big thing. Because like on my days off, I'm out, I'm gone, I'm going to lakes, rivers, doing cool stuff all the time.
Yeah, Nashville is fun, especially like when you make so much money and then you're able to like be off for like days at a time, like actually enjoy your life. A lot of people from Nashville or live in Nashville now are from California, and I kind of wanted to like kind of gather like why is everybody moving from California to Nashville like all of a sudden? Because like, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like California's like the place to move to. But then I started gathering information from people that came from there. It's like, well, it's expensive, price of living. How is it like the difference? Like, explain to me like the difference like for Nashville versus California as far as like living is concerned. Like, are you like easy living here, or like is it?
You mean just in the service industry alone?
Well, like the service industry too, but like also just like quality of life here versus California.
Ooh, quality of life. Again, I think the quality of life just goes down to that work to live aspect, right? So like there's so much to do in California. You can be in the mountains and surf in the same day. It's incredible. But I think more people would just be moving out here just for the sole factor of affordability.
Yeah.
for me personally, it was just a known decision just to, again, get out of comfort zone, experience new things, experience a new way of life. My dad lives out here too, so kind of be closer to him was kind of a big factor of it all.
Oh, cool. So like working here in Nashville, you're bartending in California, correct? Do you feel like the style of bartending is a little different too as well? Like, like I feel like here versus like maybe California, Miami, like it's very much like the pace is still high. Yeah. But also like just like the crowds, people that come in versus like upscale California, upscale Miami. Like, do you feel like that's something that you have to like get adjusted to, or is it something that just kind of like came with like the
yes experience? And no, because like I lived in a tourist area too, so like we were getting a lot of tourists, but it's a different clientele altogether, especially the speed and style of bartending. Yeah, like we are crack single mixers out the door, thank you next. Rather there, it's more craft, more hospitable, more trying to build up checks for 20% rather than $1 at a time. But overall, yeah, just it's different. One of the good things I think that landed me where I'm at now in my interview is like, why do you want to work here? It's like one day I want to travel the world, but until then, why not work at a place where the world comes to me? Right. And it was just kind of like a
exactly. I mean, that's true though, because like downtown Nashville, like the bars kind of sell themselves. So like when you get to work downtown, like you automatically get clientele from wherever you are in the on the strip or whatever. When you came down to Nashville, how did you go about getting a job like on Broadway? I
just put my head down one day. I mean, I took like 2 months off when I first moved out here, just to kind of I wanted to get my place, put it all together. And then one day I was just like, I can't, and I just wanted to be a yes man for the first 2 months. Like anywhere I was invited, anywhere I went, I was going to lakes. CMA Fest was a great time, just getting all the VIP stuff that we had down there with friends in the industry and stuff. But one day I was just like, man, I gotta get, my goal was to get on Broadway and start bartending on Broadway. I got a job in Germantown. I worked a day. And I quit it after a day because I also wanted to break the habits of like being loyal to a spot for so long. Yeah. So as soon as I realized that was not my place to be and it wasn't Broadway, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I feel that, man, because like I was working around town for a very long time before I got downtown, and I'm like, man, all these other jobs like just don't cut it. As far as like when you get to a certain place in your life as a bartender or server or wherever in the industry, and you know what your worth is and how much you want to make per month to year. I feel like the pinnacle is Broadway, right? Like I feel like anybody who lives in the city wants to be on Broadway. And I was talking to a guest a couple weeks ago. I was like, dude, like we are working in the pinnacle of like service industry. You bartend, you're really big on social media. Do you think that like had something to do with you coming into this town so quick and being able to be so successful on Broadway?
No, I didn't tell anybody. I mean, social media is cool, but it's just it's kind of a fake world. Yeah. So like that persona is not this guy, right? Like part of the reason why I like Sober Bartenders is it's a black hat, sunglasses, voiceovers, post, let it do its thing, right? If I make people laugh, awesome. I want to make people laugh. I want them to know they're not alone in the service industry and the shit that we deal with on a daily. But no, I didn't tell anybody until our group chat at work actually shared one of my videos and was like, this one's so funny. And then I kind of sat back with that, like, you know, that meme. It's just kind of like a look back thing. Yeah, I was like, and they're like, wait, is that you? And I was like, I guess so. And then it kind of blew up from there. But no, I already had a job. I already had the job before it happened. So
because, you know, a lot of people that can move here use that clout to get jobs. And like we do have a lot of bartenders on Broadway that were TikTok famous or like Instagram famous and got the job because of that. And it's kind of like a rare occasion when you get somebody who just gets the job because of their sheer experience and their personality, and then people discover, oh, this person does this. How do you feel about the social media content versus California and Nashville? Like how, as far as like your success on TikTok, like do you think that like the people that do it here in Nashville, like what's your take on that?
Compared to it, I think it's just two different styles, right? So I mean, for one, in a lot of the places, like at my old bar, like I could do it at work, right? Yeah. So like going back into it, just kind of have to figure out how to green screen it or anything like that, or what I even want to do with it. But as far as like the bartending content, it's a lot different because of fast-paced single mixer bottle can beer, thank you next style. It's a different interaction. It's a different clientele of stuff that they will experience rather than like dealing with a host, dealing with a food runner, dealing with servers or anything like that, because a lot of places don't have servers. They don't have hostesses or anything like that. So I think it's just different, but there's a niche for everybody.
That's true.
Social media is huge.
Yeah, it's getting bigger too by the minute. I feel like, because I did go through some of your social media, because we just met like a week or two ago, and I kind of went through some of your like content, and I felt like I wanted to talk about how less creative you can be in Nashville versus other places, because we're not allowed, especially at our jobs that we work at, to be able to like do stuff like that at work, especially where I work. We're not allowed to like live stream anything. We're not allowed to like do anything as far as like posting, as a matter of fact, from the place.
Yeah.
So like, do you think that like hinders you from doing anything now? Like, are you still doing stuff now on TikTok?
I do stuff now. It's just all drafted for the most part, but it's gonna be more guided towards like the do's and don'ts of like what your bartender expects from you, because of like being out here in the fast-paced environment. I definitely see a lot more like just have your payment ready, just have your ID ready. You know what I mean? Just help me help you, because there's 1,000 of you.
Right.
There's one of me. Like, I can't, like, however we can streamline this process, cool.
Right.
So I just think that's the main things.
I think so too. It limits us a little bit to be able to like be personable sometimes at work. I feel like it just gets so like crazy and busy that you're not allowed to like really even have a personality to that extent with your guests. So I was just kind of curious. Also, like, what kind of perks did you get from doing social media? Like, I know you're doing like beer advertisement and stuff like that. Can you want to elaborate on some things you got going on?
So I partnered with Rationale for a long time. They're phenomenal people. The owners, I can't say enough good things about them. They came in at first to my old bar trying to sell me on carrying their beer in the bar, which then I in turn was like, yeah, I'll bring this in. This is really good. I also have this Sober Bartender if you guys ever want to look into, paid ads on it. Yeah. So we got a deal worked out, and we did 8 paid ads for X amount. And then that transitioned into me running their social medias for like the last 3 or 4 years, which has been phenomenal. I recently just stepped down from it just because they were booming, and my bandwidth between working those hours and stuff like that, like, it just made sense for them to get somebody that knows exactly what to do with it. Right. But other than that, perks are cool. Like, you'll get packages from certain companies that want a shout out or anything like that. Promo codes are cool, but like, I don't make the living off of social media. I paid off my car with TikTok. That was about it. Like, I had the goal of when I started TikTok, like, if this can finance my car, cool, whatever it is.
Hell yeah.
But that's just from TikTok and Instagram of just the usual, what's it called? Creator program? Yeah. A creator fund, whatever that is. I had a couple of discount codes and promos with a couple other companies, but like Snibs Footwear, I have a good code on them. I love them. But if it's not a product that I can't emotionally be involved with or like get behind emotionally, like I don't want it. I feel you on that. I'm a sellout. Don't get me wrong. Like, if you send me a hat, it'll be in a video, no problem. Yeah. But I'm not gonna. If it's a liquor brand or something else, like, I get asked all the time for like drinking games is a big one. Alcohol companies and stuff like that. I'm like, have you seen my page? Like, do you know? Right. Like, the sober part is actual.
And let's talk about that. So what's the story behind the sober bartender? Like, what, have you always been sober? Was it something that just transitioned into being sober? Because it's really hard to be a bartender and not have the, the notion to go out and hang out, especially on Broadway. Like, we're always out and all our friends are always out. Yeah. So what's that about? Like, let me know about it. 5 years ago, I looked myself in the mirror after being in a relationship that I shouldn't have been in, really. And I just didn't recognize that human anymore. He was sad. He was a sad clown that didn't know who he was. He was overweight. He was about 250 pounds. And I just wanted better for myself. And I just, the day that I looked in that mirror and I just was not happy, there's a lot more into it too. Like, if you want to get real into it, like, I was drinking I didn't drink every day. I didn't need alcohol. I don't consider myself an alcoholic. Yeah. Right. But I abused it to the point to where, like, I was so unhappy with my weight and who I was, but I needed the crutch of alcohol to feel like I needed to get to a point to impress others. Yeah. So that's where the clown part comes in, right? But I was also too, like, I don't know if we'd get that far into it, but I felt like I was like borderline bulimic.
because like I would maintain my weight just by like trying to say that like, oh, I drank too much or I ate too much bad food that night, that I would just throw it up. And I thought that that was normal, and I thought that that was a way to live. But also too, my mom was a big factor in it, because, you know, whenever she would see my stories on Instagram or stuff like that of just partying and stuff like that, it was just like, just know I worry about you. Just know I worry about you. Just know I worry about you. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have like flipped the switch of like, I need to be a better person. I need to be a better son. I need to be a better friend. I need to be a better family member overall. But overall, you do it for yourself. And so, yeah, I just decided I thought it was the weight that was keeping me so depressed. So I'd spent 6 months of just losing 60 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was doing this hike regularly with like a 45-pound weight vest. I was like, I want to do this hike continuously with this vest. So one day when I lose 45 pounds, I'll know that I used to carry around this weight on a daily.
Okay.
Right. And it was probably like day 30, I think, into the first stint, to where I was running up this hill, sprinting, music was blasting, got to the top of the hill, and I threw off the weight vest, and I was physically exhausted, mentally exhausted. And I just started crying, like bawling my eyes out. But I was laughing about it. Like, it was uncontrollable.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until later that I realized that like it wasn't anything but the lid of emotions and feelings that was now off, right? That like now I could finally feel feelings, because for the first time in, at the time, 15 years, you know, you think about drinking in high school and stuff like that. Like, in 15 years that I had not put a depressant in my body for over 30 days. And it was now out of my life. So like that was the euphoric moment of like, hell yeah, this is what I'm going for every single day. And then after I lost the weight, I kind of thought I knew moderation. But no, a couple bad nights out after that kind of was like, okay, the common denominator of all this is alcohol. You've worked so hard on getting to be a better person and who you want to be for yourself and who you want to show up as for your friends and your family. Like, that's got to go. So that's just all it is. It's just not for me anymore. I have my fun. Don't get me wrong. Like,
I bet.
Like, you go to the fair, you go to like anything like that, you miss double fisting cups or anything like that. We got after it, but no, it's just not for me anymore.
I feel, and cheers to you, man. Cheers to being sober. I commend you for doing that, because it's not easy. And I feel like, especially in this city, it's a lot of things that goes on around our jobs and like our friendships that like leads to drinking, especially when you live in a tourist area. There's always something going on. So I commend you for being able to have the strength to be able to do that.
Thank you.
Especially in this atmosphere we're in right now. Like, there's so many things going on around us that leads us to doing things for outlets. So congratulations.
Thank you. And it's crazy because it's like the one, like you could talk about the social stuff, right? So it's like, it's the one vice that we use on a daily that we have to explain why we don't use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like, why aren't you drinking? Like, I'm not drinking tonight. People immediately think like all the negative stuff about it. Like, are you sick? You know, anything of the sort of what it is. Like, no, just not into it, man. So
do you think that like, and I hate to get back to the TikTok subject, but like, do you think that like those videos helped you as an outlet for your sobriety?
Yeah, because it's, for being labeled as a sober bartender, you kind of have to, it kind of adds in a level of accountability, right? Because like if I one day went off the rails and posted like some party video of ripping shots and whatever, not like it just kind of like doesn't.
Especially on social media, like anything you do, they're gonna catch you. It's like, oh, so this sober bartender is like now drinking all the time. Like, what the hell is that about?
That's why you just keep that in that world.
Exactly. So what's next for you as far as Nashville is concerned? Like, you're working here. Like, do you have any goals, aspirations as far as what you want to do in this town?
You know, home ownership is a big thing. I think with the ability of what we do and how and what we make essentially is a thing that we can do out here. We're not getting any younger, man. So like,
we're not getting any younger.
But also too, I want to travel the world. I want to go see all things. The velvet handcuffs that we talked about was like the service industry. I heard on another podcast was like, we're stuck here, but it's at least they're velvet. Like, they're nice, right? Like, because when we want time off, we put up a shift or we put in requests off. There's 30 other people that can pick it up. There's 30 other people that can work that shift. There's 30 other people that want to make money as well, that like, if you need 3 days off, it's not uncommon for you to get that off. So want to travel, want to buy a house, want to try to get settled in roots for the most part. But yeah, that's pretty much it until that day comes to where you're like, I might need some benefits of a manager here.
Yeah. Do you think that so you think that Nashville is like you're here for 5 to 10 years? Like you want to like be stationed here for?
I hear it's a 10-year city.
I want to say it's more like a 3-year city.
Yeah, you think?
I've been here for 10, but like I said, like I didn't get on Broadway until 5 years into me being here.
Mm-hmm.
So like it took me a little longer because like back in the day when I first moved here, it was a little harder for guys, especially like go on Broadway because it was like such a like woman heavy atmosphere. They quickly start transitioning over as all the bars started opening up and stuff like that, more opportunities. I say 3-year because honestly, if you come into a place like Nashville, like you did, and just started off the bat in the business areas and meeting all these people, I feel like it kind of gets a little repetitive after a while.
Fair.
It's for me, like I was working around the city for a long time, and I met people that I still talk to this day. But if I was to work Broadway when I first moved here, I don't think I would still be here now.
You think?
I think so because I feel like I've already eaten up the plate that is presented to me. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't feel like the growth is like would have been already capped by now.
Where would you go?
I don't know, man. I think that like I would pursue like somewhere on the beach. I'm very much a beach kind of guy.
Yeah.
Also, I want to be around like more of like a diverse group of like community.
Yep.
Especially as being a gay person. In Nashville is a little difficult to find like a niche for like where you belong and like what communities you can go to and transfer to. So along those kind of lines, but I'm open. I mean, I do love the city a lot, but I do feel like there is a capping point when it comes to Nashville because when you think about it, you have Broadway, you have your sports, you have your concerts and venues, and when you get to experience that like all the time, because we do have the ability to make the money to be able to do stuff like that. On occasion, it's like what else next? You know, I don't feel like I want to build a family here. So do you think you want to build a family in Nashville?
I could meet the right person or the right person comes out like awesome, but also too like I've never been the type that's like looking for Mrs. Right, but I'd always answer the door if she came knocking.
Has she knocked yet?
I don't know.
You don't know? Come on.
Know.
There's no girls at your door right now.
There's the ones that got away, right? And there's everything else. But I have good. It's all about connections, right? If you don't have like all and such for Broadway being such a tourist spot.
Yeah.
Like when I first moved out here, was on all the dating apps. Like 80% of it is like looking for a tour guide. Like,
is that really the thing?
Yes.
What? Why though?
Think about it. Nashville is just like in the easiest way to describe it, right? Like especially for women and men here, it's like a never-ending refilled pond of singles that want to just come out here and want a tour guide.
Pond or cesspool?
Yeah, cesspool is the way to say it for
I think
sure.
it's more of a cesspool.
But also too, like the people that were on there, like Nashville in general, or not Nashville, but Tennessee as a whole. As far as like the politics and everything of the such, like that's not a lot of it coexists for what I'm bringing.
Oh yeah, you're a California guy, so like the politics thing kind of like is very much different here. Is that a thing like when you guys get on like social, like not social media, but like dating apps, stuff like that, and like is that like a big deal for
it's not to me. Like I went on dates with a couple ones that were very different and opposing views of what I have on my own, but also too like that's your vote, like that's what you want to do. That's like whoever the president has 2% of our daily impact.
For sure.
I don't whoever you want to vote for, cool. Like vote local, vote everything you can to make sure that impact happens.
What are your views? I'm curious now. What are your views?
I consider myself a moderate independent. I'm very educated on both parties. I like to take both sides. But also too, I think both sides are very not much what they used to be.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right. So, but for overall, I'm voting Democrat for the most part this time, just because I just can't listen to that man talk.
I mean, I'm indifferent. I don't really talk about politics that much on my podcast, but I like to get people's opinions, of course, especially you being from California. It's a totally different place. It's a blue state, right?
Yeah.
And you moved to a red state. So, I mean, that kind of matters, especially when you work in the industry, because we were talking a few days ago about like this whole tip tax thing. That's a situation for us that has impacted my home now. Yeah. So like those conversations kind of have to be had a little bit, especially when you get I moved from Alabama to Tennessee, so it was like the same
Yeah.
transition. I can only imagine how different it would be from California to Nashville because of the fact that it might not hit you now how different it is, but like over time you'll start to realize like, okay, it's a big difference, you know?
But also too, we have a Democratic governor in California, and that guy's a slime ball.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on out there. For me, when people say California, I just think a bunch of hippies on the beach smoking weed. Which I mean, like,
you go to Venice, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I've never been to California, so I'm just like imagining in my head, like I want to go there so bad, but like,
get out
but
there.
yeah, I just feel like Nashville is a city where like you can kind of like talk about those subjects, but like it not be like so blown up.
Yeah.
Speaking of like taxes and tips, like being from California, is there something that's like to differentiate between how we get paid here? Like, talk to me about that because here we get tips at hand, right?
Yeah, yeah.
In California,
like
how is that?
A lot of it depends on where you go, to be honest.
Yeah.
But your hourly is astronomically different. Like out here, we're making pennies compared to like hourly out there. So you might actually get a paycheck.
Yeah.
But also too, you're not as lucrative on your nightly, whatever it may be. But also too, a lot of places, your credit card tips are going on your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So they're taxed on that.
Got you.
Which is awful.
Well, just education purposes, because like a lot of people that move here or visit here do not know, and we get a lot, and we are tip based, and this is an educational program as well. So we are tip based, so like people that come here, especially from out of the country, don't realize those things. And I just like to throw it out there, you know, to see how people feel about it. But like at work, sometimes like we get discouraged because we're used to working in an environment where we know we get paid by our tips. Somebody from California who moves to Nashville and goes from however to now, it's like, all right, now everything matters. Like, so personality matters, like how you get paid matters. We split a lot of tips too. Is that something that was a headache for you at first?
Out here?
Yeah, like as far as like the difference between like how we get paid.
No, not at all. I loved it. So like I knew exactly what I needed to make that shift or what I was hoping for in budgeting wise, rather than like, I mean, you can try to keep track of it as best as you can in California.
Though, I feel like.
In California, I mean, out here you can, because I have a calendar on my fridge that every single day I write, every single month I write all my shifts.
Yeah.
I write how much I made on each one at the end of the week, tallied up, end of the month, income, whatever may have you. So then it's got all my budgeting stuff. I'm great with that. But in California, you're kind of waiting for that you're getting paid every 2 weeks, right? So you literally are, depending on where you live and depending on what your situation is, like you could be living paycheck to paycheck in a thriving industry.
That's crazy.
Right?
To be living in a place like California, not making nearly as much money as you need to make to live there, and then prices just keep going higher and higher.
I know people that own homes, essentially own homes, but you know, they have 3 roommates just to afford it.
Oh, it's like New York almost.
Yeah, it's awful. Wasn't for what I needed at the time.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. And how people do it, I tip my hat to them. But like to be in this industry, in this town, on Broadway is astronomically different.
So you love it.
I love it. I love it.
Some experiences, man. Talk to me about like, have you had any crazy like experiences at work? I mean, you know, people
now or before?
Well, like now, because like you are on TikTok, people are gonna start realizing that, especially guests that come in, because everybody's always scrolls. Have you had any encounters at work where like people just like go crazy over you, like, or just like kind of like say something to you about it?
In regards to social media?
Yeah, just like have you been noticed?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Like if you're a friendly, hit me up. Like I love to know that like you follow, you support, or whatever may have you, because like they're not trying to be famous or anything like that. I'm not famous. I have whatever 70,000 whatever on between the 2 platforms. But it's cool to know that you know, like you're building a community here. Like your community has your back, and your community is also out there.
Yeah.
The first day that like it kind of leaked where I was at, I had 2 people running to my bar, like, I saw your story, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe you're here, blah, blah. Can I give you a hug? I'm like, yeah, dude, come on. Like, I'm about that life. Like I want to know that the community that we built, and like the community that of all the other accounts and people that I follow, like I help each other grow. Like we're all in this together. Like help me, help you, do whatever we can to get that out there. So yeah, I love it. I've had a couple bad experiences, especially at my last place. I posted a video that was not driven any which way to any specific group of any kind, but it was like, the sound was, tell me you have a small wiener without telling me you have a small wiener. And it was like, it was me pouring drinks, and the caption was like, when you talk race, politics, fighting at a bar, right? Or religion, right? The big ones you don't talk about while drinking at a bar. It's just dumb. But the comments were just, if the shoe fits kind of people, right?
Yeah.
Like they just got offended for no reason other than it just being a reel or being a TikTok, that I ended up getting death threats over it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like people are like, yeah, man, you should probably just kill yourself now. Like,
that's insane.
Yeah. Oh, it's wild to think. That's again, like, stay out of the comments, man. You don't.
Oh yeah, I feel you, but like you get a little nosy sometimes. I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of just want to go see like what people are talking about. But like, I mean,
If it's a sick burn, it's a sick burn. Like if it's funny, it's just like if they accurately describe you, like, you know, like a 7th grader insulting you, like John Mulaney said, like, he's got high-waisted hips, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh man, that's the one thing I'm insecure about. How'd you know about that?
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, nah. Other crazy stuff, I've had people show up that disagreed with the video. It just was like, bro, you're so bent over something you saw on TikTok that became your world, that became what you wanted to be upset about at the time, that you took your time out of your day and your one life to live to go give energy to somebody that you don't know for some bullshit reason. Like,
right. People
dumb.
get infatuated over that though,
It's
man.
wild.
Like people, you got to think about it. How many times you go to bed at night, or me personally, like before I go to bed, I literally go on Instagram Reels or TikTok.
Yeah.
Because we're in Nashville, man. Like, and it's the new happening city for like social media. And like, whether you want to get from it or not, like it's going to always follow you, because now you live in Nashville where the markets from California and New York and Miami move here, and like it's here. People are on social media all the time, and you kind of can't escape it. And we've talked about it before on the podcast. It's like you meet people, and I appreciate you honestly, because like when you keep saying community and you keep saying being there for your people, stuff like that, I love that, because there's people that live here now that work in our industry who are on the same platforms as you and have the same, or if not more, followings. And you meet them in person, you're like, you're a piece of shit. Like, you know, like
That's
you're just
awful.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
that's the thing though. Like, and like, I appreciate people like you that can come on here and be like, yeah, well, I'm here to help and support. Like,
Yeah.
you're doing like good things for the community. And that's why I was asking earlier about like creative freedom, because we do work in an environment where like we're not able to be so creative. Because I feel like for me, if I wanted to like do something at work, as far as like a live stream or something like that at work, I couldn't do it. So it limits my freedom creatively to
Well, that's
be
why
able to
this,
like
man. This
support.
is incredible.
Of course.
Like people always forget, like, we bartend, we just make drinks. Like when people get upset about anything between not having your ID, not having drinks, not having a beer that they want, it's like, bro, I just make drinks. Like
Very
who
true.
this is and who social is and who everything is not this guy.
Yeah.
Right? It's not who this, you work at a spot, right? You go do your job, and then you get to go do this.
Right. For
Right?
Sure.
You get to do stuff that you enjoy. It's not the end of the day. It's not who you are.
That's very true.
Right?
And this podcast was meant for that. Especially for us, like we don't really have a voice here as far as like the industry is concerned. I've
How do
scrolled
you
over.
figure? What do you mean?
I mean, because like I don't think I've seen anything in Nashville where it's like the POV of like our community, like it's for like the inside looking out, versus outside looking in. Like this is giving you an inside looking out. So like people like come to Nashville and fluctuate in our city to visit, just kind of see us as like these people behind a bar. You don't really get the chance to like spread stories and like share experiences of like your actual day-to-day life. And this podcast is one of few, I feel like, that does that. There are things out there that like kind of like gives you like the intake, like, oh, what you do in Nashville, and like what's the spots to go to, what not to go to. But like just having people that like actually work real time to be able to express their experiences with the world, I think is like something that's very limited.
I mean, you're putting a human element on something that you said, like people just see us as this working in the town for the most part, but there's so much to do off of Broadway.
It is though, man. It is like the Cummings Falls. Have you ever been there before?
Yeah, I'm telling you, as soon as if I'm on a day off, I'm out of the city. Like that's why I love where I live, because like the city's, like, you know where I live, like the city's right there,
right?
But it's also over there.
Yeah.
Right. So like if I it's far enough to like where all that stuff's not coming to me for the most part.
Yeah.
And when on a day off, I'm at Cummings Falls, I'm at Burgess, I'm like, at wherever it is. I don't want to give up all secret cool spots and everything.
Please don't, because like we need our
right?
places.
But those
Mother's Ruin is already not our place anymore
right?
because of that. Oh my God. Like 2 years ago, like Mother's Ruin was like our place. Now it's like you go there on a Saturday night, it's like you can't even get in the door. They have a line. Yeah. What bar in Germantown has a line out the door?
Right.
Like that's fucking insane. But Yeah, man, this podcast is for, the general audience to see what we do on a daily basis. I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, hell yeah. You should be.
What are you doing now as far as like your work? You're doing beer advertisement, you're bartending on Broadway. Like what else do you have going on?
Not a lot, to be honest. So I've been going home. You coach football back home for 10 years. I try to watch as much film on them as I can.
Are you a big sports fan?
I love sports. But football's been my thing, right? So like doing a lot for the community back home. I want to get back into it out here, but I don't think that like the hours of our industry will allow it for the time being. Other than that, trying to put together some material, trying to put together some content. It's just finding TikTok's changed so much that like you don't get, especially during election season, like it's all political. Like your For You page is just wild. So unless it's like borrowing a sound, like I don't like to do acting stuff. I don't mind it in the voiceovers for the most part, but like just finding the sounds that like you take and relate to service industry has been a lot more difficult. And plus working for the beer company when I did their socials kind of took a lot away of like the fun, because it was a job.
Yeah, for
right.
Sure, yeah.
So like now that I'm out of that, like I'm looking to do a lot more in the space and get Sober Bartender back to what it was.
Well, let me know. I want to be in a video because I feel like I'm funny. Because do you think you're funny? Like, okay, so like when you do videos like on TikTok, I feel like you're pretty funny.
Thank you.
So but I meet you in person. I think I don't know if you're like, because there's a difference between being funny on social media, right? Yeah. And then being funny like off the cup or off the cusp, whatever they call it. Do you think you're like if I was like just to shoot the shit with you think you're like a funny guy, or do you think you have to be scripted? You think so?
I know so.
You think so?
No, I don't think so. I know so.
I want to get to know. I want to get to know that person.
I think I am a witty person, but I'm also a genuine person. Like I'm not gonna hurt your feelings, but I'll throw a jab in there.
Well, see, I think I might hurt your feelings though. Not you personally, but like I feel like my humor is more. I feel like you're more like a smart, witty humor, which would piss me off, and then I'll just get defensive and just like say some hurtful ass shit.
Word.
So we might collaborate pretty good, right?
World, man. Like people need to be more direct in their communication. Like if I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'll fuck with you, but I'm just saying like.
But if you ever did hurt my feelings, and if I was like, yo, that's no. Like,
I wouldn't hurt your feelings.
I have the ability as an adult and as someone who's very in tune with their emotions as far as from sobriety in the sense to be like, yo, dude, no. Like that.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I was just poking the bear. I was just kidding.
But like, you're fine. But fuck it. Let's shoot the shit.
I would definitely. I'm very much like point and shoot kind of humor.
And plus too, like the people that we know in the industry, like I feel like people are all spokes on a wheel, right? Like I'm my wheel, you're a spoke. The people that we know are different spokes. So like as soon as we get those together, like that's all. There's a reason why we have the same friends. It
is true actually, because we do have some of the. Like my best friend is one of your friends, and so we are kind of like alike in the sense, like we are who we hang out with. I feel like too. So
there's a reason why like you like that person, and we both gravitate towards that person, or whatever it is. So why would we not get along?
I think so too. And having you here was a good opportunity to kind of meet you like in person. And I really appreciate everything you got going on too, man. I want to get back to the sobriety thing a little bit because I kind of like register with that a little bit. I'm not sober by no means. But I've had some situations where I thought like, man, I probably should regroup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Living in downtown Nashville does not help.
Yeah.
And then working downtown Nashville does not help.
I bet.
So
especially you walk with all that cash and you're just like, there's a bar right next door.
Easy. Especially in morning shift. I'm off at 7. I'm going right next door. And it's kind of like hard to like really like put yourself in a situation where you can gather like the importance of like not drinking every day versus like what you have to do like for your personal life.
Yeah.
This podcast is like saving my life a little bit.
Cool.
Just like you were talking about your TikTok reels and stuff like that kind of like helped you like with the outlet. This is my outlet. This is my Monday. Like I do this every Monday. And not only am I passionate about it, it's like helping me stay in tune with like who I am as a person. I'm 35 years old. And this is giving people the opportunity to see a different side of David, not just like the blackout one that goes out on the weekends. Totally. So I really appreciate you for sharing your story too with us because I feel like I can register with that a little bit.
And just know like if whatever it is, like it's crazy. When you first start not drinking, you find out real quick who your friends are versus who your drinking buddies are.
Yeah.
Like the ones that are gonna want to go do stuff that you use as a new outlet other than drinking are going to be the people that that truly care about you. Like, let's go on a hike. Let's go to an escape room. Let's go to the mall, whatever may have you. Like those people that don't need the crutch of alcohol and juice, David, right, are going to be the ones that you're going to want to be, and you're going to realize that your quantity is going to shrink down to more quality. Yeah. Right? I don't know if you already have like
already doing that too then, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just it's when you get older too, like you start realizing like, damn, this motherfucker was like not meant for me to be around. And like it's kind of refreshing too, man. Just like to have growth. Like your core group that like you can do things with outside of like hanging out. And I've never been more happier in my life because like it's clarity. I'm sure, like especially like being sober, like it's so like clear headed. Like I don't need this, and this. Yeah. So like I commend you because like I feel like if I ever was to go sober, you gotta lock me up in the closet and you have to literally just like keep a chair under the door handle because I'm gonna go fucking crazy.
Man. It's crazy like when you go out with friends or anything like that, and like if you know, there's that time of night to where like the light's on but no one's home on a lot of your friends, and then you can just easily Irish exit and dip out. But like I'm okay with that. Like you guys have your fun. This is whatever conversation that we're gonna have, you're not gonna remember, and that's okay. I'm gonna go home. But it's crazy like when people are at that point of just being drunk and they want to have that deeper conversation as far as like, oh man, I really love what you do. I wish I could do it. And I'm just like, man, I would love to have this conversation with you. Just not right now. Especially like let's have a good time. Like me being sober and out does not hinder anybody else's experience, and not even my own. So if you guys want to buy a round of shots, rip a round of shots. I'll be here. I'll be dancing. I'll be doing my thing. I'm not asking you to cater to me. I'm not going to cater to you. This is for me. I chose this for myself. Yeah. Don't worry about me.
How much is the ick is it for you to be around like people drunk? Because like now that I know that
working or out?
No, out.
Like friends or
like
people
anybody, like mostly friends, of course. Because like we were just out the other day, and I'm like, I didn't know you were sober, and now that I'm like calculating and registering, like, oh, he was not drinking this entire time. Yeah. Like, how much of an ick it is, like, because we get kind of out of control.
That's fine. Like you learn a lot about yourself. Yeah. And especially in the first year of sobriety, you're waiting for people to ask why you're not drinking or if you are drinking, just so you can validate and stamp it home that you're not. But then you realize that you don't, instead of trying to find the right words to cater to other people, right, you need to choose the words that are right for yourself. And if it's not, you know, though, it goes down to like those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter, right? But as far as an ick, when people do get drunk, it's your life, man. Rip it.
I feel like I'll be such an annoying person around you if I was ever drunk.
No.
Because now I know you're sober. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to help myself. I'm like,
That's your insecurity. That is your insecurity.
No, okay, yeah, that's my insecurity.
But it's other people's insecurity too, because it's just like I'm not judging you. I have no judgment on anybody. I have my own shit to be judged on.
Yeah, I don't want to know now. Like, I want to like not know that you're sober.
We're gonna go out and I'm just gonna buy you shots all night.
Well, don't do that, because then I'll be getting an Uber home very soon.
I'll drive you home. Yeah, I mean, a glorified DD. Like, I want my friends to get home safe. Like,
I'll abuse that power.
I mean, okay.
I'm like, hey, come pick me up right now.
The one thing that I don't mind people abusing me on for a ride is a ride to the airport. Otherwise, if I'm the DDD, the DD always, nah, not cool.
That could be annoying. But I live close, so I can walk home too, though.
Word.
Yeah.
Cool.
But man, I really appreciate you for being here. Yeah. I really want to get to know more about like the alcohol stuff you got going on too. So if you have any like things going on with the beer, well, what you consider it? Like, what would you consider?
It's a non-alc beer.
Yeah. So like you,
the non-alc space is booming right now.
Are they local?
No, they're brewed in, they're shipped. They just got distribution, or they're getting distribution in Tennessee. But we're mostly West Coast based, out to Texas. In Target's, Whole Foods, stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're booming. These guys are phenomenal. They do 3 SKUs, but they do them right. They use reverse osmosis to take it all out. It's a different brewed process. What do you think of it?
I like it. Yeah. I'm not very big on hops, but that's a subtle hop for me.
Yeah.
Because I do drink Modelo too. You compared it to Modelo earlier, and I can see myself like a lime, cold glass, perfect, all day long.
Love it.
And also like to help me like not drink, I probably want to get some of these from you.
It's also too, you have all the ones I brought.
Yeah, I like that one.
But also too, they're not trying to be the sober or bust brand. They're not, hey, you can climb a mountain today as long as you drink our beer, like other companies, right? Like, they're like, hey, moderation. Have a pacer beer. 2 beers, rip a shot. have a rationale, right? That's the brand they want to be, because like their whole founding story is like making sure that their kids were going off to college and just making rational choices.
Yeah.
Right. So like that was the big thing behind them. So that was part of the emotional sense, because at the time I was like, cool, moderation. Like let's hinder in moderation. Didn't learn it, but
how did
good.
you meet them? Like, just like some friends of
yours?
yours?
Yeah, no.
Or?
Again, they came in to try to sell me the beer
Mm-hmm.
at my bar that I was a bar manager for, and then I just turned around and sold them on AdSpace on TikTok.
Hell yeah.
And then it just became a beautiful, beautiful relationship and friendship. Now I actually have some stake and skin in the game with him.
Oh yeah, it's a good beer. I do like this one a lot. This is my favorite, which is the only one I've tried, but it's my favorite. But I am more of a
It's
like
my favorite.
so far it's my favorite because I love I love like Mexican style beers.
Yeah.
So like if I was to like drink something off the alcoholic side of it, I would probably get something like that. Like something
just
too
a
hoppy.
cerveza and 2 IPAs, and they're coming out with a Kolsch that's gonna be phenomenal too. They're just overall good people, man. Like if you're not a good person, like if you don't actually care about the product and the people that work for you, like I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, I fuck with that because you were saying earlier, like if you can't be emotionally attached to something, like you can't really sell it properly. Like I feel like you're just faking it.
Yeah,
like
I've had promo codes too that like were stuff that I was like I got and I like put out videos and stuff for that I tried and I was like, this is ass. I don't want anything to do with this. Like,
then people think that you're just gonna like support them anyways. Like you're like, oh, he's on TikTok, so he's gonna support it. Like if I don't like him, I'm not gonna fuck it.
But also too, people think like these promo codes and all these people with promo like these deals and stuff that go on like 15% promo code. Like that's
is it giving T-Move to you?
What? Yeah. Well, it's not. It's just not. It's just not gonna bring in the thousands of dollars that people think that it's gonna be. It's cool. Like when you get your first one, hell yeah, you deserve that. You worked your ass off to get that promo code to be something for a company. They want you to be a part of it. But these are the only guys that like once you're a part of it, like you're with them. Like you are with them to the moon. Like
they do stuff like as far as like they give merch and like stuff like that. Give like
they're not big on merch, but honestly, like the first year, like for being an employee with them in the first year, they gave me stock in them. They gave me part of their company. Just like
so they're legit.
They're awesome. Like people that again you're with them. So that's what I want. Like if you tell me that I can be part of this growth and this success, like yeah.
Is that your retirement plan?
What this?
Mm-hmm.
No.
What is your retirement plan? Because we all gotta have one.
What when we're 85 years old?
No,
here?
please don't say 85. Because we bartends like our bodies will shut down eventually. We can't do this forever.
We're gonna be those guys cleaning the glasses.
I am not gonna be that person
in a skirt or whatever it is.
With a little apron and shit.
Yeah, a little apron.
Not me. If I don't find my Mr. Right by then, I'm just.
How long do you think you'll be in this industry?
Oh man, hopefully.
That's a hard question.
It is a hard question. I really
bro.
can't say because like I mean, if it's lucrative, I'm gonna continue to do it. But I also gotta find avenues to make it a retirement plan. Okay. Because I was talking about it the other day. I was like, dude, like this is a career. Like people used to like shit on us for like being bartenders, but this is an actual career. If you do it, play your cards right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I'm thinking like maybe I can kind of intertwine these two worlds together and find my way out. Of it, but still like, I mean, I kind of want to have this blow up to where like I can kind of still resonate around the community, but like I'm just like more of a spokesperson for it.
But if you're the face of it, you can't really leave it. You think?
I mean, if you're the face of it, you don't have to like be in it like in the front, like the front line though either. You know what I mean? Like right now we're frontline workers. Like I want to kind of like take a step back.
You're talking about from the service industry to just do this.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
But it gravitates around that same nucleus, right? Because like this is what I've always known for my entire life. I went to school, but like
we all ever a manager.
I was actually before I started working at my job. I was managing around Germantown for a while at this place called Sam's. Yes, it is very bad, but like it gave me the opportunity. The thing is, what I appreciate from it is because I'm easily managed now because of the fact that I know both sides of the fence, and the things I took away from that company can never be taken away. I know how to do so many different things now. I feel like I have a curve over other people because of the fact that I know behind the scenes stuff too. So it makes me more of a lucrative employee.
Yeah, I think it depends on how like where you manage to.
Yeah.
Like and how you were trained. Like no disrespect to Joe's Crab Shacks, but that was my first management job.
Yeah.
And they were by the book. This is the book. This is how we run it. Yes or no, right? And you're not. And it's the craziest thing. Like, have you ever fired somebody?
Yes.
And what was it over?
It was more of like a reliability thing. The person wasn't reliable to be at work.
Yeah.
too many consecutive times to where it became a hindrance to not only us but to them as well.
But once you realize like people don't get fired, they fire themselves.
For sure,
like that is the biggest awakening of any management thing. It's like, they listen, man. So that's.
I started off shitty too, man, because I was young. This company is pretty big in Nashville and Alabama, and when I first started off from the ground up. So I was a host first. I started serving. I worked in the back of the house. I became a kitchen manager. They do scratch everything. So like I went to a 8-month period of like learning how to do things from scratch. So now I'm an amazing cook now because of the things they taught me. Then I made my way to the front of the house, managed there for like 8 years. Like I was there with that company for like 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Like everything I know is because of them. But when I first started as a young 25, 26-year-old kid, basically in the management world, I didn't know anything about how to manage people.
That was your first experience in the service industry was at 25?
No, by the time I got to 25, I was managing by then. I started with them when I was 18.
Yeah.
But by the time I was 26, 25, 26, I started managing people.
18.
They get you every single time. And I wasn't able to manage myself, let alone other people.
Yeah.
And I started to gradually start becoming a better person, then maybe a better manager. And I think that one of the things that I grew was like understanding. I was like so hot-headed at first. I was like, it's my way or the highway. You gotta do it this way. I was like so gung-ho. But then now the people that I used to make fun of the most when I was managing is the older managers.
Yeah.
They were just so like, it's okay. Things will happen. And so I learned that patience from people like that.
Yeah.
And so now I register that to my bartending life and just being able to understand like it's not all about me. Like this is a whole entire process that has to happen. And you have to look at it from both perspectives.
It's like spokes, right? Like good management should be the spokes between all the gears of the restaurant that are working between kitchen, front of the house, host and servers, and like they're the lube of it all, right? If one's lacking, they need to go get there. But then you experience bad management.
Yeah.
Right.
We all have that we all have those experiences though, and that can resonate between just not bartending and service industry, but everywhere.
Yeah.
Just having people that can like really like understand how to group people together and like manage them as appropriate.
Have you ever managed friends?
Of course. I mean, I didn't have a choice.
Weird.
But
it's like you either respect my role here and my responsibility or you don't.
I mean, at first, but then you start realizing that like, honestly, I don't think you should be able to manage your friends. No. I think it's impossible. Yeah. You always have a bias with that.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I feel like work's work and outside's outside.
I mean, but at the end of the day,
I can cut that.
You think so?
Yeah, I can. 100%.
I mean, I can too, but then the friendship ends.
If you were my manager and whatever may happen inside work, we're like, it's work.
I feel that, but like I feel like you just added more stress to yourself. Yeah. But yeah, man, like I said, I appreciate you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I would love to have you
awesome.
Again in the future whenever we start having things going on with our personal lives. I want to kind of get to know more about that.
Be in a video too.
I better be fucking invited to the video.
I got a good one. I got good plans for like Broadway stuff.
Yeah.
That like I got some good shit.
Let me know. I'm down.
Coming down.
I'm totally down for sure. I mean, if I'm available, I'm there every single time. But thanks again, man. I had a blast. I had a blast for sure.
Same. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is the life we choose. Life we choose. And honestly, I wouldn't want it any